Hey guys, welcome to a spooky Halloween video. Ooh. Okay, that was really cheesy. Anyway, so I was gonna say corny, that was really corny, and then I was like, oh, I could have said that was really candy corny. Yeah, it's one of those kind of days. I'm gonna try to read some scary books for this vlog. I don't read much horror. For those of you that follow my channel, you probably know I read mostly like fantasy, but I also do read some mystery thrillers, and some of these mystery thrillers maybe are also kind of horror. But for the first time, I'm gonna try really reading a few horror novels. Now, one's young adult, so it's probably not gonna be that scary. But I recently read Sleuth It by Brom, and I absolutely loved it. I don't even know if I'd call this horror, though. It wasn't as scary as like Lost Gods, his other book, but it was still like, I mean, there's definitely some creepy stuff in it, I suppose, and there was definitely some violent stuff at the end. For this vlog, I'm going to be reading 3 books, and I think I already know what they are, but right now I'm just going to tell you the first one. It'll be a surprise what the second 2 are. The first book I'm going to read for the series, or maybe I should go ahead and tell you, I don't know. The first book I'm going to read is Asylum by Madeline Rue, and spoiler alert, I'm literally halfway through it already. I didn't even put the bookmark in here, but I'm right around halfway through. This book, this is a discarded one from my school library because we had 1 million copies of this book in the school library, and so we discarded some of them. We're reading like thousands of new books before we moved to our new building. Anyway, and this one was like messed up, and anyway, like I said, we've got a ton of them. So this book is short, 300 pages, but it reads really, really fast. And there are pictures, creepy pictures that the author maybe found of actual real asylums, I'm pretty sure. Found photographs, yeah, from real asylums. So the pictures, honestly, are probably the scariest part so far. But I figured what we would do in this vlog is that I will tell you my prediction out of 10 for how scary this is. What could we do? Scary, how many pumpkins? I don't know. That wouldn't really make any sense. Can't do stars. I don't know. We'll just say out of 10. Out of 10, how scary I think it'll be. And then as we go through, I will update you and tell you like how it's progressing. And then at the end, how scary it actually is. So in the beginning, I mean, the cover's creepy. I think things about asylums are creepy. Things that like the synopsis says, well, I'll just read you the synopsis so you know what it's about. It says, for 16-year-old Dan Crawford, the New Hampshire college prep program is the chance of a lifetime. Except that when Dan arrives, he finds the usual summer housing has been closed, dun dun dun, forcing students to stay in the crumbling Brookline dorm, formerly a psychiatric hospital. As Dan and his new friends, Abby and Jordan, start exploring Brookline's twisty halls and hidden basement, they uncover disturbing secrets about what really went on here, secrets that link Dan and his friends to the asylum's dark past. Because it turns out Brookline was no ordinary psych ward, and there are some secrets that refuse to stay buried. Featuring haunting photographs, this mind-bending reading experience blurs the lines between past and present, which I'm getting that now. I see why it says that. Friendship and obsession, have not got to that part yet. Genius and insanity. So I am really intrigued. I would almost say that so far, like I said, I'm about 50% of the way. It's more of a mystery than it is horror. I want to know how the main character is connected to this asylum. I feel like there is a connection. He's having these weird visions and stuff and flashbacks, and he might be connected to the warden. I don't know. And this guy had a really weird reaction to hearing the main character's name. So I'm like, is he somebody from the past? Like, I don't know. But also there is the two friends. There's definitely something up with them. And one was like, oh, you know, at my old school, these people stopped ignoring me, almost like I'm a ghost. And I was like, is he a ghost? Is that the twist? You know, is the friend, are they all ghosts? Are they all actually patients in the sanatorium, whatever? I don't know. I just feel like if there's not a twist, I'm going to be mad because it's giving me very much like Shutter Island vibes. And I want there to be a twist like in Shutter Island, perhaps. So I'm not quite sure, but there are also sequels. I don't know how there can be sequels, but I'm hoping the mystery is at least wrapped up in this one that I don't have to read the sequels. I don't think you do. But another reason I'm reading it is because it is the most popular horror young adult book in my library at school. And I want to be able to recommend it to students or not, or talk to students about it. I've been trying to read some of the more popular books at school just to see what I think too. And this one has been on my radar for a long time. I show a lot of book talks and book trailers and things like that for this book, just because we have so many copies and everyone seems to love it. And they always want the sequels. They're all very well loved copies. So there must be some reason they like it. I will say the writing style is very easy to follow. I'd say it's a pretty low reading level. So for students who struggle or don't really like reading, this is probably a good one for them because it is very fast paced, like super fast paced, and a lot of just lots of stuff happening. So anyway, I mean, it's fine. It's probably like a 3-star right now, but if there's a really good twist, it might be a 3.5. So I can't imagine it'll be a 4-star. It's not near as good as like I Hunt Killers that I loved so much. But anyway, right now, so going into this, I did not think it would be very scary just because I know the cover looks scary, but it's young adult. So I would have said maybe a 5 out of 10 for scare factor. Right now, I'm going to go with like halfway through maybe a 4 out of 10, because really it's more the mystery that is keeping me going. So far not too scary, but I'll keep you updated, and then we'll read 2 more scary books and see if we can find anything scarier. Okay, so it's bedtime. Ash is actually going to sleep right now, the baby, that is, well, toddler, and my husband's putting him down, so my husband's probably gonna be interrupting me any second, but I just had to let you know that I finished Asylum. I don't know. It depends on if you want me to rate this based on my enjoyment or based on how good the book is. It's honestly not a very good book, like 2 out of 5 stars maybe for actually how good it is. Like if that, it's not very good. There's something ridiculous that happens at the end that they just don't even like talk about. They just sort of glaze over it. It's like a Deus Ex Machina where it just comes out of the blue and it's very convenient. It's super plot devicey, but then they never talk about it again, even though it's something that I feel like really should be talked about. So the ending's absolutely ridiculous. I guess I didn't see it coming, and so people that say that they saw like the twist coming and kind of like who the bad guy is and the big reveal, I don't know how you could, because it's not anything extra special. Like it's actually the least interesting plot twist that they're not. Well, it's not the plot twist that wasn't interesting. I guess that part was interesting if they had actually discussed it more, because it's pretty crazy, the actual plot twist. That should have been way more discussed. The crazy part, or the not crazy part, is just who the actual like bad guy sort of turns out to be. And like I didn't really care. I was like, oh, okay, well, whatever. Who is this person? They're not even like a main character. But anyway, so maybe that was a little bit of a spoiler, but I just wanted it to be, I don't know, a little bit better twist, I suppose, or else more detailed about how the twist worked. It was not scary. Oh wait, back to the star rating. So technically it's probably 2 out of 5 stars for how good it is, maybe 1.5. Not very good, very poorly written. Not poorly written, but just so mediocre. Like maybe good for middle schoolers or like 9th graders. I'd probably recommend this too. I don't even know if like a 12th grader would like this book. I'm gonna book talk this to my freshmen, but I gave it 3 stars just because I did not want to pick it up. Like every time I was ready to pick it up, I was like, yeah, okay, let's read this and see what's gonna happen next. So usually 2 stars are like, oh, I don't even want to pick it up, you know. So this was like, yeah, I'll pick it up. Okay, I'll see what's gonna happen. It was really just the mystery that carried me through. It's definitely more mystery than horror. It was not scary. I might give it like a 4 out of 10 on like a scary factor scale, just because there are allusions to things that are scary but that aren't actually like shown or anything, like nothing actually scary. I mean, okay, there's like a couple people that die, but and there's a serial killer, but I'm like, okay, it could, but for an asylum I feel like it could have been scarier. I saw a funny review that was talking about how like the pictures weren't even that scary. And they're like, oh, you mean this like paisley print at the beginning of each chapter? That's the most horrifying part. I was like, yeah, that's pretty true. I think for younger kids, it might be a little bit scarier for sure. But compared to something like I Hunt Killers, it's not very like intimidatingly scary or anything at all. So if you remotely are interested in reading something like this, I would read I Hunt Killers by Barry Lyga, because it's like the best mystery thriller I've ever read, including adults as well, including adult ones too. I give it 5 stars. It's the only mystery thriller I think I've ever given 5 stars to. Anyway, so that's a wrap on our first. It's not very scary, and it was just sort of okay. So tomorrow I'm going to start our second book for this vlog, and I will tell you then what it's going to be. Okay, it's time for an update on my way to work. So I started my second book for this vlog. I can't even remember now. I'm reading this one on audio, so I don't actually have a physical copy. So I will just, oh my gosh, this car was being like really, really weird. Okay, that's weird. Anyway, I just started A God in the Shed, and I can't remember the author's name, but I'm sure it'll be here on the screen. So I had heard about this book from Kayla from the channel Books and Lala. She talked about it in a vlog she did, and I think she only wound up giving it 3 stars, but I just thought the title caught me for sure, but also the synopsis sounded just really interesting. I can't remember why she didn't really like it, or that she just thought it was okay. But I was like, you know what? It sounds scary. We need another horror novel for this vlog. Let's try it. And so far, it's kind of creepy. Like there's eyeballs on steaks. There was a serial killer. And what's really interesting is it's not actually a serial killer story. Like there was a serial killer in this small little town of San Quentin, I think. And the serial killer has been caught. Like the very beginning, the serial killer's like, that's the first chapter, is there's an inspector, which I love like inspector stories apparently. Like I love the movie V for Vendetta, and I love the fact that there's like an inspector figuring it all out as they go along. I love the library at Mount Char. I love the inspector character there too. So I'm thinking that that's one of my trends in 5-star reads is like, or movies, is that there's also like a detective story going on, which who would have thought, because I didn't know I would have liked that. But the very first chapter is a detective who finds all the bodies of this serial killer. But the catch is, Well, there's a couple catches. One is that there's actually a prologue to the book. I guess I should have said that first. In the prologue, you're introduced to like this monster. It's like this creature that lives in the woods. It's not human. It's definitely some like a fantastical creature that I guess that's going to be later the god that maybe is kept in a shed. I don't know. Right now it's not in a shed, but it played with little kids in the beginning of the book, and it was very creepy. And eventually, you know, it was all fun and games until someone lost a finger, and this creature clearly doesn't know anything about like humans, but it didn't seem overtly like bad or evil. It just like didn't know any better. I don't know. It wanted to play with the kids, and it wasn't like in a scary way though. So I don't know. That's going to be interesting to see where that storyline comes into play. But now we've not seen the creature again for a while, except that these eyeballs that the serial killer collected are all outside of the cave where that creature lives, facing the cave. So I think that the serial killer knew about the creature, and I don't know what he was trying to do, attract it or watch it, or I don't know. Anyway, but the catch is one of the victims that they find of the serial killer is actually this 8-year-old girl, but she doesn't have any evidence that like she was murdered on her, and it turns out her heart gave out. She actually had a heart condition, and she was riding her bike and her heart just gave out. So she was not a victim of the serial killer, and the serial killer happened to find her and feel bad for her, so he took her body and put it with the rest of them, but he didn't actually kill her. He actually felt bad about her, but nobody else. Anyway, so the main character, one of the main characters, well, actually we've had 3 different points of view in 3 different chapters, but one of these main characters, her name's Venus, and her uncle works for like the coroner or something like that. I don't know. I think he helped perform the autopsy on the little girl's body, and there's definitely something weird up with him because he goes to the funeral and he's doing real weird things at the funeral. And I don't know. I'm not sure what's going to happen with really anybody in the story or how this god's going to come into play, but I am loving it so far. Like, it's very mysterious, and it was like, oh, this girl didn't actually die by the serial killer, so what really happened to her, and how's this weird thing in the woods connected to all of this? And right now, like I said, there's been 3 different characters' points of view already in the first 3 chapters, plus the prologue was a different point of view. So I don't know how many other points of view we're going to get because I'm reading the audiobook, so I don't even know. I can't even look ahead. So anyway, stay tuned, because so far it's on track to be like a really, really high rated read, and it is creepy. I don't know about super scary, but it's definitely creepy, so I'll keep you updated. Hello again. I feel like I just update you in the car a lot, but this is like a totally different day, and it's in the evening, and I'm driving to go get my son's medicines, antibiotics, because he's got an ear infection, and I have Ella over here with me in the car. So anyway, while we're driving on this pretty road that I'll show you, isn't this just pretty? It's like the sun's kind of setting and the clouds, and anyway, okay, so I just had to update you that I'm 50% of the way through A God in the Shed, and I just bought this book physically, which you know what that means. It must be on track to be 5 stars. I cannot believe it, because I would never think I'd give like a horror book 5 stars, but it's honestly kind of more thriller, mystery, I don't know, I guess horror and fantasy sort of. It's a little bit of everything. It's like, I think I said this before, did I say this already? I don't know, but it's like the Library at Mount Char meets I Hunt Killers, but make it way gorier. It's quite a bit, it's quite intense with the gore and like the horror and stuff, which is the only reason that right now I'm like, will it be like 4.75 stars? I don't know. It was so on track to be 5 stars until literally like this morning. If I'd updated you yesterday, I would have been like, guys, I found my second 5-star book of the year. Library at Mount Char was the first one. That was like January. It's September. Haven't found another 5-star book. I was so excited, and now I think the time has come. But as of this morning, I was like, oh, maybe it would wind up being a 4.75, because there's like just a couple things. Like now there's been something that happened to a cat, and I don't like things happening to animals, and it's like it gets real disturbing and real weird. But I'm still really enjoying it. There's still a lot of mystery. There's a lot of stuff. I mean, just a lot of stuff going on. So if you remotely like I Hunt Killers and the Library at Mount Char, either one of those, that this could be a good book for you. It's weird. It's real weird. Apparently I do like weird stuff though, but this is the horror version of those 2 books, but with some mystery as well. I like that the people on in the town are already sort of like in on everything, and they already know about everything. It's us that are like, we're the ones trying to figure everything out. I thought the inspector would be trying to figure everything out, but turns out he already knows everything, sort of. So I don't know, I'm just really intrigued as to who knows what, and like who's actually good and who's actually bad, and like what's actually happening. Are the people that are killing people actually doing it for sort of good reasons to protect everybody else from this god that now lives in this teenager's shed that she's like got captive? I don't know. Then kind of the magic system, it's not really much of a magic system, but the way the god is sort of kept prisoner is really, really interesting. So anyway, I'm gonna let you go because I've got to go get this medicine. But I'll probably wait and update you either at the very end of the book or maybe one more time. We'll see. But it is scary. I will say that. The horror aspect is up there. Oh, there was one night that I stopped reading the book because I was like, I don't think I'll be able to go to sleep because it was at a really creepy point. I knew something really scary was about to happen. So yeah, it's pretty creepy. Like on the horror scale, it's like an 8 out of 10, like 9 out of 10 right now. So yeah, it's pretty creepy. I did it. I finished A God in the Shed. And well, also I think I forgot to update you that I also bought it, because that's how you know that it's 5 stars, is that I bought A God in the Shed by J.F. Dubois, I guess is his name. And I can't remember if I've updated you about this or not, that I found out that there's a sequel. So I already have the audiobook for it. I don't know if I'm going to buy it physically. I mean, I probably will, because I obviously gave this one 5 stars. It's not my favorite 5 stars. Like maybe it's like a very low end of 5 stars. Sorry, I'm like out of breath because I've been like running around doing stuff, getting my baby ready for bed. Anyway, I just finished it today. I didn't want it to end. I've decided that books are kind of like a bell curve. So basically, if it's a really bad book, I don't want to pick it up. If it's a really good book, I also don't want to pick it up. And if it's somewhere in the middle, I'm excited to pick it up. So the reason I don't want to pick up a 5-star book is because I don't want it to be over. Like, it's so good. So I just want it to keep going. And I'm like, no, the more I listen to it or read it, the less I can, the less I have left to read. Anyway, it was really good. It was not as horror towards the end as it was in the middle. And to me, the mystery was still what really carried it. I know it's listed as, let's see, a haunting, dark, sinister tale. I could see that. A gruesome imagination. Like, you kind of get past the gruesome parts at some point. Like, you just realize it's gruesome and you're just like, okay, this cover is gruesome. That's just how this book's going to be. A suspenseful cornucopia of carnage and terror. I mean, I wouldn't say terror. Complete with Stephen King's scareability. Yeah, I'd say it's more of a thriller. Like, if this is what a horror is, then I guess I just don't really know what horror is, because I just didn't think that this would be horror. I don't know. If it were a movie, I think I would have actually watched it, and I don't watch horror movies. So I gave it 5 stars. I'll go ahead and show you my next read. Sorry, I want to sit down on the floor. I'm tired, so I didn't want to stand anymore. We're going to move on to our third and final book for this vlog. So the first one was Asylum. It was not very scary. We gave it 3 stars, and on the horror scale, not very much out of 10, like 3 out of 10. For God in the Shed, we gave it 5 stars. Yay. My second 5-star book of the entire year. For horror out of 10, I mean, I'm going to give it like an 8 because it's gory and it is still scary. I mean, it is somewhat scary, I suppose. But the thing that is scary about it, I mean, there's like multiple things that are kind of scary about it, like supernatural things and just really realistic things. So I guess I'll give it 8 out of 10. I mean, it wasn't super scary, but there was that one part that I couldn't even read at bedtime. So I guess there was that. So that's good. So we had a not very scary one, and then we had a scary one. Sorry, I'm trying to pick the sticker off of the next book because it's going to drive me nuts and you're going to hate it too, but I'll just show you because it ruins the cover. Our final book is The Twisted Ones by T. Kingfisher. So what's really funny is I just got a library loan in today for A House with Good Bones by T. Kingfisher, but I don't think it's supposed to be like super scary. This is supposed to be scary. It says righteous folkloric horror. The devil is waiting between these pages. So I don't know what it's about, but I bought it for $2.99 at Ollie's, and I love T. Kingfisher, so let's just see. It says, when Mouse's dad asked her to clean out her dead grandmother's house, she says yes. After all, how bad could it be? Answer, pretty bad. Grandma was a hoarder, and her house is packed to the gills with useless garbage. That would be horrors enough, but there's more. Mouse stumbles across her step-grandfather's journal? Yeah, which at first seems to be the ravings of a broken mind, until she encounters some of the terrifying things he described herself. Alone in the woods with her dog, Mouse has to confront a series of impossible terrors, but sometimes the things that go bump in the night are real and they're looking for you. And if she doesn't face them head on, she might not survive the tale. So let's see, it's blurred by people I don't really know. Myra Grant I've heard of. Innovative, unexpected, and absolutely chilling. Deliciously horrifying. I adored it. In turns deeply human and uncanny. The Twisted Ones reads like the world's most terrifying episode of Hoarders. Interesting. Don't sleep on it. In fact, be prepared to never sleep again. Okay. Well, if this book is so scary that I'll never sleep again, then we're going to give it like a lot of stars on the scary scale. Maybe it's scarier than the last one. Let's see. This is 381 pages. So I'm going to start it tonight, and I will update you when I'm a little ways in to see if it's scary at all. Welcome to a quick update in the back storage room, and I have to try a fun drink. Actually, I've already tried it. Like, I haven't opened this one, but I tried it a couple weeks ago. I got one. It's an Accelerator Rocket Pop flavored. Remember those old popsicles that were like 3 different colors, like red, white, and blue? Anyway, this was so good. It was only 150 milligrams of caffeine. I've seen ones that are 200, 300, and those are too much. But I can drink this throughout the whole day and be fine. Oh, I really like that one. I bought 4 of them. I had to find them at a grocery store like 30 minutes away. That's really good. So, quick update. I've read approximately 60 pages. I think I'm on about 60 or 65 of the Twisted ones. I have to get my bookmark. I don't know. I didn't have a bookmark. So, ironically, right? Like that I literally, my librarian didn't have a bookmark. I think I'm on 62? 63. Yeah. Anyway, so I'm that far. I have to say that last night I actually got a little freaked out because I saw the cover. Now, obviously there's this cover that just has some trees and a scary house, but I'm going to put a picture here on the screen. This is the cover of the book on Goodreads, or the book I'm listening. It might be the audio book I'm listening to, actually. But this is the cover, and the little twisted man figure that's like some sort of skinny, tall person, that freaked me out. And I was like, I can't read this at bedtime. So I actually did not read it at bedtime. I did some this morning and then like before bedtime. But I guess that means it's kind of scary because I don't know what these twisted ones are going to be, but I don't like it. I also feel like that I like that it's just one person, like not knowing what's going on, and that's it. Because in the other book that I just read, A God in the Shed, even though of course I loved it, it was a bunch of different people and you're following like so many different points of view, like tons of them. It would just jump to like, there's like 10 or 15 different points of view. And most of them know what's going on. It's not really a mystery. It's more of a mystery of you trying to figure out what's going on. But the characters already know about the God in the Shed. But in this one, you don't even know what's going on. You're just learning along with the person. So yeah, she gets to North Carolina, which I love North Carolina, but I do agree that like all the trees that just line the interstate is like creepy because you just don't know what's behind there. Like, is it like a suburb, or is it just like nothing and something terrifying? And now she's found this diary from her step grandfather, who keeps saying things like something about the twisted ones. It's like a phrase, like a little mantra, here it is, that he repeats. He says, I made faces like the faces on the rocks, and I twisted myself about like the twisted ones, and I lay down flat on the ground like the dead ones. And that just keeps kind of getting in her head, this little familiar, it's almost like a song that gets stuck in your head, especially the part about I twisted myself about like the twisted ones. And at one point in her thoughts, she just randomly says that and just moves on. And I was like, oh my gosh, it's getting to her. Like, there's something about that phrase too. I don't even know. So I'm enjoying it so far. I have to say it's creepier than I thought it was going to be. And I forgot to tell you that I did read one of her other books called The Hollow Places, something like that. I'll put it here. I did read that one and it wasn't really that scary. It was kind of like House of Leaves, where like a house that there was like a building that had a building that there was a part of the building that was like a room that couldn't be as big as it actually was. And so they're like, where is this room? So that book wasn't as scary as I thought it was going to be though. So I'm hoping that this one is scarier. But anyway, I'm going to keep reading and I'll probably update you when I'm maybe halfway through. Okay, it's bedtime and I've had a very long day. We had an open house at school and I was there until 7 o'clock and I got home like 7:15. But just a quick update. I am 100 pages away exactly from finishing the twisted one. So I'm like 80% or something of the way through. And I just thought I would give you a quick update and say that the structure of this book is a lot different than what I thought it was going to be, because like A God in the Shed was structured like the first part led up to some of the creepiness, introduced the creepiness. I would say there's like 3 parts, and then the middle third was like the creepy part, I suppose, the actual scary part, and then the last third was just everything wrapping up and kind of being resolved, and it wasn't actually scary. I didn't think so for definitely the last third. But this one I thought would be structured the same way. I thought the first third would be her moving to North Carolina, figuring out that there is a mystery, introducing the mystery, introducing these creepy twisted ones, whatever. And then I thought that the middle section was going to be the horror and terrible scary stuff happening, and that the last third would be her like fighting it off or investigating it or whatever. And I was wrong, because it's really all just built up slowly in like one steep, steady climb. It's not like divided into parts, I don't feel like. So really just now she is finally going to get to the part that might actually be scary. Honestly, everything's just like creepy so far, and it's led up to like, oh, but there's these scary things out there in the woods. they haven't attacked yet. They haven't done anything. Like nothing actually bad has happened. Nobody's died. And there's a character that she is like friends with who she's made friends with the neighbor who kind of knows like what's going on with these twisted ones. And the weird like ruins, or not ruins, but like weird rocks and stuff behind her house that are sometimes there and sometimes not there. And there's a hill that's sometimes there and sometimes not there. And anyway, I was like, okay, well, the friend is clearly there to die, because why else would the character be there? But nope. So far the friend is still fine, still plugging along. Maybe in these last 100 pages the friend bites it. I don't know, but it's not that scary yet. I mean, yeah, just the threat of there is a threat, but nothing's happened. So I'm like, okay, either this last 100 pages is going to be really scary because she's finally like going to the place to really truly investigate what's going on after 281 pages. She's finally going to go investigate. So it has been like slow yet fast paced at the same time. It's a very easy read. It's just, I feel like it's like light horror. Like even young adults might like it, I think, because it's, I don't know, it's not like super scary. Yeah, it says folkloric horror. I could see that. It is sort of folkloric because of this stepfather's journal that he left, and these people that maybe are in a different, these things that are the twisted ones or whatever actually might be in a different country that there's like a sort of almost like a portal to in her backyard, like Ireland or Scotland or something. And anyway, there are definitely some creepy parts, but it's not overtly like terrifying or scary or horrific. It just creepy, just unsettling, I would say. So like the unsettlingness is certainly there. It's not gory like, well, I mean, maybe just like a teeny tiny bit, but definitely nothing like A God in the Shed. And it's not, well, Asylum wasn't really scary at all. It was a mystery that wasn't really even about like things that they did in this asylum. Anyway, so I will finish the last 100 pages and let you know if it gets any scarier. Right now, it's not scary. It's just creepy and unsettling. I'm so busy that I have to multitask. I'm warming up on the treadmill and just thought I would tell you, I just finished listening to the Twisted Ones, and it did not get any scarier. In fact, it just got kind of weird. I didn't like where it went. Honestly, I thought the Twisted Ones were going to be weird, tall, skinny people, because that's what it looked like in that one little picture that I showed you of the cover. And that's not what happened. So I was a little disappointed. And I realized one thing that I did actually like about it that I saw other people on Goodreads complain about is the comedy. Like, it is funny. And people were saying, well, but it's not supposed to be funny in places. Just when it started to get intense, then she'd make a bunch of little jokes and be witty. I like that. But it was not scary. No. So on a normal rating scale, like just for the rating of the book, I'd probably give it a 3. Maybe 3.5 just because I liked the writing. Didn't care about the plot though, or the characters really. So maybe a 3, 3.25. Scary scale, I mean, it was a little unsettling and a little creepy, but not very scary at all. Maybe like a 3 or 4, like a 3 out of 10. And I think I'll just think about all 3 of the books and kind of wrap up my thoughts in another clip soon. Well, let's end where we started and wrap up this horror vlog. I wouldn't say it was much horror. Maybe books aren't scary. I mean, is that a possibility? Or at least I'm not picking the right scary books. I don't know. I feel like scary movies are scary, but also I don't really watch scary movies. But these books were not scary. Maybe I'm just not picking the right ones. But first we read Asylum. I literally already took it back to school to put it in my like giveaway pile of discarded books. So in the end, it was not as bad as I thought it was, but it was probably my least favorite of the bunch. Gave it 3 stars. Yeah, and like it was not scary, but it was a little bit of a mystery, so I would definitely recommend it to a younger audience, like freshmen I think might like it, maybe even middle schoolers. Then I read A God in the Shed, which I of course bought my own copy because it was a 5-star read. I'm so glad I did this vlog. That's the only reason I read this book, is I was like, oh, I'm gonna try reading horror books, and this is one on my list, so I guess this is the one I'll read because I have so few on my list anyway, so I kind of have to read the ones that are on there. I literally only had like 3 horror books on my list. So I had to read it, and I'm so glad I did. Oh my goodness, I branched out of my comfort zone. I listened to a booktuber, and well, actually it turns out Kayla from Books and Lala, that I found this on her channel, she only gave it 3 stars. I think it wasn't her brand of horror, she said, but anyway, I loved it so much. It was once again like The Library at Mount Char kind of meets I Hunt Killers, and I loved everything about it. It wasn't like as good as those 2 probably, but I still very much enjoyed it, and I'm going to be reading the sequel. I already have the audiobook for the sequel ready to go. And then I just finished the Twisted Ones today. Not as good as I expected. I don't know what I'm thinking about T. Kingfisher anymore. I think I've read 5 of her books now, and I'm getting ready to read a 6th one, A House with Good Bones. I think it's her horror books that I don't like, because I've read 3 kind of scary or twisted ones. I've read 3 twisted ones, and then I read 2 fantasies by her, and I like the 2 fantasy ones a lot better and gave those 4 stars, and everything else by her I've given 3 stars. I probably like this one better than The Hollow Places, which I also read by her, because this one, at least I really actually did like the witty like writing style and all the little jokes and stuff I actually enjoyed. But from the vibes of the front, it's not quite the same vibes as are in the story. So just know that this cover is not accurate, is what I feel. So I don't know, are books scary? Maybe, you know, maybe I should do this again next year and like try to find actual scary books. So if you know of any actual scary books, let me know down below. Stephen King, like I read Pet Sematary, I didn't find it scary. So like, I don't know, I guess I could read It or something. That would probably be scary, but I don't like Stephen King. He's already an author I've said I'll never read again. Ironically, I was gonna go read anything but a horror novel next, or like mystery or thriller, but I'm gonna pick up The Turn of the Key. It'll be just in my like monthly wrap up, because I have the audiobook loan that just came in for it, but it says I think it's a suspense like thriller. Yeah, there's like murder and deception, gothic, creepy. So, I mean, I don't think it's horror, but at least it's like thriller kind of thing. So anyway, I hear really good things. So I'm going to pick this one up next, and we'll see how it goes. So thank you so much for watching. Hopefully this was entertaining at least, and maybe you could try God in the Shed, because I highly, highly recommend it. Anyway, I will see you guys again soon. Bye.